welcome back to part 2 of demystifying crochet. In part 1 we had started out creating this pineapple mid region for the dress for Beyonce's demystifying Beyonce's dress. So yeah, I'm going to continue. I said I was going to come back when these two shells have met each other. So right after you have just one, like I said, there was a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Right after the 1 right here, yeah, the next set of shells were worked together. So a shell here and a shell there joined together. You notice that this sort of totally narrows the pattern, and then we're somewhere where I'd call the waist of the dress. Okay, now this is a point where we attempt to we maintain this for that mid region. So we're going to be maintaining this, and the way to maintain this is we're going to be working about 3 more rows which mirror this look. So for that to happen, I'm going to be using a different yarn color. Yes, the other yarn color is finished, so I'm going to be using a different yarn color. I have to use bright colors so that you can see clearly what I'm trying to demonstrate. So on that note, yellow is coming into play right after blue. Okay, so as usual at this point we're supposed to chain 1 and turn. So I'm just going to attach that. Have you subscribed to our channel? Go do so right away. All right, so I'm going to chain 1 right now and turn this work. So for this row, what I'm expected to do is maintain the post like I told us in the first part. Maintaining this post means I'm going to slip stitch all the way to the middle and work another shell, work a shell here. So shell goes here. Chain 5. Now we're here at that point. So I'm supposed to work a shell, just one shell. To achieve just one shell, what I'm going to do is work one part of the shell into this chain 2 space, and the other part of the shell into this other chain 2 space. I have chained 5. So the first part of the shell is the 2 double crochet stitches which are going into this stitch right here. Okay, then I will chain 2, yeah, because the shell consists of 2 double crochet stitches, 2 chains, and the remaining 2 double crochet stitches which I have worked into the second shell. So yeah, from after this you end up with a 1 single crochet. You're going to be working the shells side by side, no chain in between, and then you continue with what all these 2 rows have now become 1, right? They've become 1 right there. And then as you also notice that the pineapple has started to curve back in. All right, the pineapple has started to curve back in. So as the pineapple curves back in, it comes back into, comes back as a cone of sorts, the ice cream right on top of the cone. So here, our last part, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we're going to be working just 6 single crochet stitches. So a chain 5, 4, 5, okay, single crochet stitch in between the first 2 posts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You see that it has reduced. When I left you in part 1, we had 10, right? So we worked it, all the way, and now we have just 6. So I chain 5, join the 2 shells as 1, 2, then 2 chains, and then the final 2 double crochet stitches are going in here, and then all I have left to work now is my post, right? My shell post. So the shell post comes in here. Okay, so that's it for the first row of maintaining. So this is what that looks like. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is maintain this. I'm going to do this for 2 more rows and then come back. All right, so it means that after I work this post, I'm going to put in one shell here. So the shell here, chain 5, shell here, chain 5, and then fixing my single crochet stitches here. Yeah, chain 5, shell in here, chain 5, and shell there. I'm going to do that for 2 more rows and I'll be back. All right, so I've worked the 2 rows like I said. So I'm back here, to work. We're going to start to open this up. Now note that like I said, we're at the midpoint. So we're going to have to start coming back under the bust. Remember that the bust area is wider than the waist area. So this has to come back out. So for that to happen, we're going to be increasing this point. So as usual, the method of increase that we used here, we're going to be using it here. So where we have two clusters of these 2 double crochet stitches, we're going to be inserting 3. So let me just show us that real quickly. So 2 double crochet stitches in here, chain 2, another 2 double crochet stitches into that same chain 2 space in the shell from the previous row, chain 2, and a third set of 2 double crochet stitches in there. And then this time around, as usual, continue chain 5 and work the single crochet portion, 3 4 5 single crochet here. The single crochet stitches have reduced to about just 3. Yep, so this is the third and last single crochet stitch before we continue to replicate what is on the right side of our pattern. So yeah, this is it. We've opened this up a bit, right? So we have that double crochet, 2 double crochet stitches, 2 chains, 2 double crochet stitches, 2 chains, and 2 double crochet stitches. And then this one has reduced to 3 single crochet stitches. You can see that. So I'm going to continue mirror this on this side and then come back around. When I come back around, I'm going to be inserting 2 separate clusters, sorry, 2 separate shells into these 2 chain 2 spaces that you see here. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to work that, and then when I turn around, I'll now show you the next step. Okay, so we've turned around, and like I advised or recommended, remember the increase things we did here, where we put in 2 new shells into this point. That's what we did here. So 2 shells in there, as in a shell in there, a shell in there. So to increase this point, we have 2 shells. So now what we're going to be doing next is that we're going to work 3 shells into this pot. So a shell is going to go in here, another shell will go in here, and a third shell will go in here, all separated by 2 chains. So watch this. I'll chain 5, 1 2 3 4 5, then shell 1, shell 2 into the chain 2 space between the previous shells. So shell 2, chain 2, and then shell 3. Shell 3 is complete. Okay, so that's it. So into the 2 shells from the previous row, we've managed to insert 3 shells, up there, separating them by 2 chains each. So we're going to now continue our chain 5 4 5, and then this is supposed to be the last single crochet here. So I'm going to continue this to the end to mirror this other side, and then I'm gonna come show you what we did right after completing our pineapple there. Okay, so we're back, we've turned back around, So into this spot right here, remember that the shells, we separated them by or with 2 chains each. What we're going to do for this row is that we're going to be separating them with 3 chains each. So let's do that. 3 chains each. Sorry, 5 rather. That's the usual 5 that we've been using to separate our main stitches from the beginning of this I'll call it class. All right. So I'm going to shell here. So the shell goes in here. And then instead of a 2 chain separation, I'm going to do a 5 chain separation. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then another shell into the shell from the previous row. Do a 5 chain separation instead of a 2, and then insert the last shell. So now for this middle point where that I'm coming up on, let me chain my 5 first. I'm still gonna put in, yeah, I'm still gonna do the 5 chains will still be there. This was the previous shell, so this is the shell. I'm gonna join them, but yeah, I put in a 5 chain space right there. So yep, I have created a bridge between the left side and the right side. So this is it essentially. So 5 rather than 2, as explained on the right side. We're working the left side now. Work the shell complete. Right now, chain 5 again, work the last shell. This keeps increasing. This increases that bust region, yeah, because of course, like I explained earlier, the bust region is definitely wider than the waist region. Okay, so I'm going to complete this the rest of the row and then walk back around and come show us what we did, on the next row. All right, so we've turned back around, and worked our normal, our shells normally. Shell here, shell there, shell 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I also have 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So in between this spots, I'm going to be chaining 2, just 2. And then I will put in 1 double crochet stitch to catch this 5, yeah, and then chain 2 again to complete that point there, and continue to work the remaining 4 shells, separating them with 5 chains each. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, create a shell, chain 5, and then another shell, chain 5, and finally the last shell. So at this point, as far as measurements go, the large individual is covered. Medium to large is covered because this is the length. There's my tape. Okay, so from the diaphragm, yeah, this is the diaphragm right there, up to the top pant region, about 9.5. So yeah, that's what we have. Okay, so this definitely works for that particular individual. Now we have to work the breast region, meaning the diaphragm upward. This is going to go over the breast now. And this part was done in an opaque stitch, which is why I said that we're going to be using mesh, single crochet mesh, to work this. So at this point, what we're now going to do is to work the single crochet mesh upward. So we're going to be working, we're going to be maintaining a few rows. Why? We want a more opaque part to cover the lower part of the breast before we start creating the V. I will insert a video on how we create V neck right here. So mesh essentially starts with a single crochet stitch. You chain one, single crochet into the chain two space, chain one, single crochet into the first, double crochet in the same shell, chain one, single crochet into the chain five spaces. You would have up to three single crochet stitches. All right, you have up to three single crochet stitches, and then continue chain one like that. You're going to have to find an even method of inserting your for this very first row. You're going to have to find an even method of not losing out on the number of stitches here. So if these are 6 plus 5 11, 6 plus 5 11, 6 plus 5 another 11, that's about 33, and then plus 6, that's 39. So 39 on this side, 39 on this side, that's 78. 78 plus the 5 here. Yeah, 78 plus 5 gives us 83. So that's a good number of stitches to work out a single crochet mesh, because we're going to start with a single crochet and end with a single crochet. So work out that, what that turns out to be for you. All right, so end up with that 83 stitches. Now ensure that whatever number of stitches you end up with are the number of stitches required to go from the armpit on one side to the armpit on the other side, because this particular side doesn't go, the top part, the bralette part is just a bralette, it doesn't go around the back. So note that your measurements, number of stitches, all of that will matter, so that in the event that the number of stitches you have here are a little bit higher than the number of stitches you need to go from one part of the breast to the other side of the breast, you will find a way to modify and get what you need. But I maintain, because this is for a large individual, okay, so I maintained it when I worked it here. So I'm bringing this back to show us properly. So when I worked the single crochet mesh, yes, I maintained the number of stitches I had from here. So the 83 stitches, so to speak. All right, so I'm going to be working that. Let me show you how that whole single crochet mesh thing looks and feels like. So I was at the end of one row, I chain, turn my work, and then into every single crochet stitch, I'm going to insert a single crochet stitch, chain, single crochet stitch, chain, single crochet stitch, chain, single crochet stitch. That is all. It gives you an opaque look. So the plan is to maintain this for a few number of rows to cover the bust part as much as possible. Let me show you what that sort of means in the picture that I drew. Okay, so yeah, here's the bust, right? So we're going to be working up. Let's say we're at this point, right? This is where the opaque part starts from, the single crochet mesh starts from. So you're going to work up a few rows to ensure that you have covered the breast properly before you start doing the reductions on the outer part, so that the individual's breast is not hanging out. So you work up a few before you start reducing, work up a few before you start reducing. Hopefully the point where you start reducing here is also the same point where you start reducing in the middle. I will attach a video on how to work this part. So that is it essentially. Now for the lower part of the dress, let me give you a visual. So I'm back here, right? This measurement, earlier on I told us that it is what now? Let me do it again. It is about let me just follow the line. So I have about say 30. If I have about 30, okay, so 30. Let's say I was headed to 40. I already have 30. So all I need more is 10. All right. So how many chains is going to enable me achieve that 10? This is what I'm going to do to get that. So I'm going to introduce another yarn color, so just so that all of this is clear to us from the beginning and how we're just going along. So I'm going to insert this new yarn color, right? I'm going to be using red. Okay, so from the point, this was that stitch. So I'm just going to insert my hook in there and chain a few chains that by the time that, so that by the time I measure all around, I have up to 40. So I'm going to work with 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20. I'm going to do this up to 30, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. So let's say this 30 has given me the remaining 10, because by the time I pull, by the time you add all of this up, I should have up to 10 inches. All right. So what happens is that I've chained here. I'm going to attach it to this other side. I'm going to just slip stitch to this other side of the stitch of the dress. I have created a circle, right? I've created this circle. So now I can work my single crochet mesh. So I chain, right, and then put in the first single crochet in there, mesh it up, and like I said, about by the time would have counted your stitches all around, you know how many single crochet stitches your chain 5 space can carry. Mine carried carried 2 at least, single crochet stitch going here. Now for a more sturdy base, I usually catch up from here. So instead of inserting the single crochet stitch into that stitch right there, I carry the whole thing. It's a single crochet stitch there, chain, single crochet stitch here, chain. So this, you walk all the way around, and keep going around. This is what forms the hip region, because you're going to be working down. You work down and create that opaque part to cover the hip after you would have worked the top part to cover the bust. All right. So back here now, the stringing. So the stringing is going to be happening at the top part, like I showed us on this paper. Yeah, I showed us on this paper. Your stringing at the end of the V, up here, there's a string here, end of this V, end of this other V, there's a string here. These 2 strings are going to be tied at the back. Then that part you maintain, the single crochet mesh part that you maintain from here to there, you're going to attach a string to the top of it and attach another string to this back, to the lower part. String here, and those are what you tie at the back. Here is already taken care of because it has increased, it has reduced and then increased back evenly. So that's about it. And there you have the Beyonce dress. Okay, so do let me know any parts of this dress that was that you didn't quite understand what I was saying. I will do our best to do something a little bit more explicit. Now, on the other hand, if you would like to do this and you do not have the time, or you just find it too complicated to do, we can work the entire dress for you, but it will be for a token. It will not be for free. So do let us know whether you want an explanation on a particular part of the pattern, or you want the entire dress worked for you, and we would go from there. Thank you so much for watching.